Hey everybody, my name is Jaden Godey and this is my very first YouTube video. In this channel, I'll be covering all things bullet journaling, from the setups, tips and tricks, and even stationary reviews of the products that I use. Just a heads up, I did lose a little bit of footage of the quote and cover page of this month's setup, but I'll be covering that later on in the video. Well, let's head over to the setup.
Okay guys, so for this month's theme, I went for a die/game night theme. I got my inspiration from always taking a chance in life. Just as you have a chance on getting an individual number on the dice, you should always take a chance in life. No matter what the outcome, it's always a good idea. So here I was just drawing out each individual square for my calendar. I went for a hand-drawn look. I didn't want each corner to be the exact same. I wanted to have a rounded edge so that each one didn't have the exact same look. On the bottom left corner, I'm drawing the first two dice. Also, again, I didn't want that perfect square look. I wanted to have the edges more rounded, didn't want it to be exactly perfect. I missed a little bit of footage of me outlining the first couple of blocks, but it's my first time filming, so I'm sorry about that. I'm just outlining each individual square of the calendar now. Here I'm drawing a little note box, also had the corners a bit rounded, didn't want all the edges to be perfectly straight, just for any notes, birthdays, goals I wanted to add on there during the month. In some of the spots I added these gray leaves or plants. I thought it would give a little bit more to the spread. Now on to the next spread, my mood tracker. For each and every day of the month, I will take a certain color that I coordinated with a certain mood and fill in a little spot on this spread depending on how I felt that day. So I would maybe do a darker gray if I was feeling sad, or a lighter gray for feeling happy. I drew these two little dice, and behind it I had these leaves again and the plant growing out from behind it like an overgrown bushy area, and I thought that looked really nice. I drew the dice too small in the beginning, so I decided to make them a little bit larger. As you can see here, I used a real dice to make sure where every single number should go on which side. On the bottom left corner, I drew an outline of where eventually, later on in the video, I would like to add some ripped black paper. Up top, I am now outlining the mood tracker words and putting a little underline underneath it. Here I'm just filling in each block for the moods I'm going to use with a different color. So for when I'm happy, I took this light gray, and if you guys were wondering which Tombow Dual Brush pen I used N95. For the middle one, that's for when I'm having an average day. It was a good day, I enjoyed it. I used N89, and for the last one, if I had kind of a meh day or I was kind of sad, tired maybe, I used N65. Now on to the next spread, my habit trackers. So these are for trying to create a habit for things I struggle to keep up with or forget to do. So some of them include stretching or working on my YouTube channel daily or just practicing piano for my piano lessons. Here I'm drawing each and every individual calendar out, and I think I have 8 different habits I'd like to create. On the bottom right corner again, I sketched out where I'd like some ripped paper later on. Here I'm outlining each calendar for all of my habits. Again, I didn't want the corners to have a perfect clean edge. I wanted to have a rounded look, not have every single one be perfect. Here I had for the check mark, if I did it, I had it a darker gray, and if I missed my habit that day, I did it a lighter gray. For the darker gray, I used N65, and for the lighter one, I used N95. Now I'm drawing the grids. I didn't want to write 1 through 30 on every single habit calendar. Instead, I kept the middles blank. It also spares me a lot of effort for that. Once again, drawing the little gray plants and just adding some small details. On top of each calendar, I'm writing which habit each calendar is for. So stretch, piano, volleyball, my YouTube channel, water my plants, keeping my room clean, doing skincare products, and just bullet journaling overall, keeping up with my spreads. For the next spread, I'm doing 1 line a day. So for each day of the month, I write down something I was grateful for, enjoyed, maybe just a funny moment to keep in my memories, to look back at during the years, and just to have memories of things I enjoyed throughout that month. At the bottom right, I'm outlining the 2 dice, and I also added a spot for where I'd like to add some ripped paper later on. On the top now, I'm going over the title of my spread with my black marker. On the left side, I'm doing the same thing with my fine liner pen for the numbers 1 through 30. On the right side of my book, I'm making a playlist page. So this month I didn't have too many favorite songs I like to listen to. I just picked some of the good ones I had good memories of in the past couple of months. Some of them are pretty new, but some of them are kind of older songs, just a couple years back I like to listen to when I was younger. I decided my album covers were a little bit too high up, so I just moved them down 2 or 3 dots. On screen, now I'll be showing you how I printed out the little album cover papers so I can glue them on later on that spread. I printed them out in black and white to fit my grayscale type look of my theme. So when cutting them out, I didn't really care if they were perfectly cut out straight, because when I glue them on, since the sides are white and my book is white, when I outline them it won't really matter much. It will look pretty clean. Okay, now for the gluing part. So I rearranged them in the order I wanted them. I just mixed them up. It wasn't in any certain order, but I started gluing them on and it looked pretty good in the end. Then I drew these play or pause buttons on the bottom of each paper, and at the top I had a video bar of where in the song it is. Some of these songs include Coldplay and One Republic. And for my last 2 spreads, I always like to end it with a positive quote and a drawing to sum up what I tried to represent in this month's theme. In the bottom left corner, I drew 2 dice again, one a little larger than the other. For the quote on this page, I wrote, "Take risks. If you win, you will be happy. If you lose, you'll be wise." Meaning, always take a chance. You'll probably be happy either way, because if you take that risk and you get what you want, you'll be happy. And if you lose, you'll probably learn a lesson because of that, and that will make you wiser. Once again, the top right corner, I drew an outline of where I'd like some paper, and I drew these gray plants again with the leaves, some of them falling off as if the wind blew them down. And now for the last page of April. I drew 2 large dice, and I picked the numbers on the dice accordingly to some of the numbers I like. I chose the number 24. I don't know, I just like it, so I put that on the top and the side, 2-4. Here I'm just drawing some of the plants in the background as if it's an overgrowing bush. I added some of the light gray marker on the sides of some of the letters and of the dice to give it a shadowy effect. Now for the pieces of ripped paper. I will show how I did the very first one, and the rest I already have pre-cut and ripped out. So I drew where I wanted it to begin and end and ripped it on the corner of the paper so that it's nice and flush with the sides. I stuck it on there and see if I wanted to make any changes, ripped off some of the sides, and then I glued it onto the paper. Now I will glue the rest of the black pieces of paper onto the corners. I think the paper really added some contrast to the spreads because the spreads are mostly a gray and white, and I think the black really made it pop. Okay, so here is my final flip through of April. Here's my quote and cover page. I lost some of the footage for that. Here is my calendar spread. I really like how all these turned out. Next is my mood tracker and habit tracker. These are probably my two favorite spreads. I really like the leaves for the mood tracker and the rounded look of the calendars for the habit trackers. One line a day is pretty simple now, but it'll be filled in later on. And the playlist looks really nice with the black and white album covers. And lastly is my quote page and my back cover page to sum it all up.
Well, there's that. I really hope you guys enjoyed this month's setup for April. It was very fun for me to make, just listening to music while drawing and filming for the first time. Well, see ya!